And you travel a lot, right?
I do,
Yeah.
yes.
So for just getting started,
Yeah.
could you give us some information that might be relevant for people to understand as it relates to your life in your floating practice? Just a little bit of background about, what you do and that sort of thing.
Absolutely. So, well, we started off, I do travel a lot for work
Mm-hmm.
and personally as well.
Okay.
So it means a lot of time up in the air, a lot of time on the go, a lot of time living out of hotel rooms or out of a suitcase. So it's very important for me when I am back home in St. Louis that I focus in on grounding myself and being present with friends and focusing internally and taking care of myself, because sometimes when you're on the road, you're not eating the best and your sleeping's a little off depending on what time zone you're in. So I'm very happy to be grounded again for the next couple of months, and I'll focus in on really being present here and getting back to focusing on me.
And how long have you been engaged in this process of travel and traveling a lot? And you do a lot of international travel too, right?
Yeah, it's been, I'd say, within the past 10 years.
Okay.
And it started off with the requirement of the job, the position I was in. That started affording me the international travel, which adds level. I wasn't used to that because, these long flights, the time zones, not being able to, your sleep patterns being off. And then you just can't snap a finger if you're in a time zone that's 12 hours ahead and then you fly back and then you're 12 hours behind. You can't just snap your fingers and get back into the swing of things. It's a gradual process.
And have you come up with a regular, like your own regular process for preparing and like receiving yourself before and after these trips? Have you got that pretty well down pat?
I do.
Yeah?
Yes, because I'd say it really started ramping up over the past 6 years.
Okay.
And it doesn't happen constantly, but I find that when I do travel, it happens in clusters.
Okay.
And I purposely kind of do it in those clusters. So then I do have some downtime. So it's not always on the go, then a steep drop off. So it's kind of like up, then down, then up, then down.
Yeah.
So knowing that cycle and allowing myself the downtime after I do get off a cycle of some, big travel, that's very helpful for me, because if I feel like if I sustain it too long, then I start feeling off and kind of it just throws me off in multiple ways.
Yeah, and you also, on these trips, right, there's a lot of planning, right? Because you're planning events.
Yes.
And coordinating, and there's a lot of details, and there's a lot of logistics, and
a lot of anxiety, and a lot of pressure. And when I'm away, sometimes in these international areas, I wake up at 5. My day starts at 5 a.m. And I don't shut down till midnight.
Could you talk a little bit about just what you're doing and what you're trying to accomplish while you're on these trips?
Absolutely. So these are large-scale events, hundreds of people for my work. Okay. So I not only am the business owner, but I'm everything soup to nuts, from logistics and AV and entertainment and everything to do with these events. So I tend to go a few days beforehand, prep the event area, then I'm on when it's showtime for multiple days. And then there's usually a recap after the event. So even a 2-3 day event winds up being a full week when you blend in travel time and getting there early and the recap afterwards. So it's high pressure, it's high stress, everything's on your shoulders. And I take it, I want everything to be perfect. So a lot of focus and detail and energy goes into ensuring that it's as seamless and as perfect as possible. But I tend to stress and worry over these things. So even in the weeks leading up to it, someone once joked to me that it's not nightmares, it's workmares
Okay.
that you have leading
Sure.
up to an event. You know, you'll just wake up in the middle of the night and say, oh, I forgot about this, let me just write it down. Jerry Seinfeld once had a joke and said that he kept a pad and a paper next to his bed, that when he woke up in the middle of the night with a joke in his head, he'd write it down. And sometimes in the morning it wouldn't make sense to him, but just having that pen and paper next to his bed made him comfortable that when he woke up in the middle of the night, he would capture whatever he was thinking.
Okay.
So I kind of tend to do the same thing because,
Okay.
you know, your mind's going a mile a minute and you don't want to lose track of any detail that pops into your head leading up to the event.
Right.
So it's a lot of pressure. And then when you're there, you're not only running the event, but you're entertaining customers and you're building relationships there. So I feel like after one is done, it's very significant because, you know, it's time to exhale and it's time to celebrate and, you know, relish in your success and relish in celebrating that it was a good event. And then when I get back here, I take time to, you know, kind of unwind and take care of me. And that's kind of where floating comes into it.
Yeah.
And I kind of use it as a, how do I say, like a pat on the back for me
Okay.
when I can treat myself and my head's clear of the clutter and I allow myself to enjoy and really pamper myself and relax.